Welcome to the Blogger Genius Podcast, brought to you by MiloTree. Here's your host, Jillian Leslie.
Hello, friends. It's me, Jillian, serial entrepreneur, founder of Catch My Party and the MiloTree app, and also host of the Blogger Genius Podcast, where I share and break down what is working in online business today so that you can take it into your business and have success. Before I get started, I wanted to share that we offer tech services and WordPress blog setup through MiloTree. So if you've got any sort of technical problems with your blog, just reach out to me at jillian@milotree.com and we would love to help you. And if you have not started your blog yet, we recommend it be on WordPress and we can set it up for you. To learn more about that, head to MiloTree/blog start. For today's episode, I have Melanie Ferguson on the show. She is a coaching client of mine. She is my friend. She is the blogger behind Southern Crush at Home. She does DIY, home decor. She has a very large Facebook page that we're going to talk about. And she's created online craftathons. These are 2-day events where crafters come and craft in real time. We're going to talk about how she created them, how she monetizes them. So without further delay, here is my interview with Melanie Ferguson. Melanie, welcome to the show.
Aw, Jillian, thank you so much for having me.
You have a very interesting business. It has a lot of different parts to it, and I don't even know how you started your business. So could you share your origin story so I can learn it too?
Oh my goodness, yes. So my story starts well before the online space, back in real estate, where I had a business for 20 years selling homes, of course. And so it was the perfect segue to the online space because I was already familiar with dealing with all types of people and things that can come up. And so when I started my Facebook, it was back when I had a real estate business and we were actually trying to diversify. So we bought a historical building in our downtown small town in Texas.
And this is you and your husband?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. My husband and I live in a small town in Texas. We bought a historical building and we fixed it up and we were going to put our real estate business in it. And then we thought to each other, this is a lot of space for just a real estate business. And it was right when Chip and Joanna Gaines were kind of heating up and getting more popular. So we thought, well, we'll just put kind of a home decor store in here and we'll carry farmhouse type items. And so we did that. And
wait, did you call it Southern Crush? Like
we called it Southern Crush.
Okay.
So basically, we carried all sorts of home decor and we had different vendors. And so I knew I needed to have social media presence as well in order to grow the traffic because it is a small town.
Okay. Wait, what year is this?
This is 4 years ago. So maybe 2016. Yeah.
Okay.
And then we grew off of that. I was having online sales, live
So you created
sales.
A Facebook page.
Yes, ma'am. A Facebook page was definitely what I was leaning towards, mainly because of the fact that you can go live and sell things. It was before Instagram even had a live option. So I did that. And then our store flooded. So we had quite the situation on our hands. We had to make a big decision. Were we going to redo the store inside or take the business completely online? And that is when we made the pivot and sold the building, moved home, and Southern Crush at Home was born.
Got it. So you had this original Facebook page for your store, and then you changed the name and changed. Now, did you have a bunch of inventory that all of a sudden now you've got to sell from home?
Definitely. So we did a huge liquidation over 2 separate full weekends and sold just about every single thing except for the things I couldn't possibly part with for pennies on the dollar. And that is what I started with from home.
Wow. Okay. Emotionally, how was this going through this?
Horrific. And I actually, I've never released it, but I videotaped myself and my thoughts before I went in each day for the sales because it was quite gut-wrenching.
And you thought to yourself, you had the peace of mind to think, I'm going to pivot my business and move it online?
Yes, because we had already experienced a bit of success with the online space married to the physical storefront. So I knew there was opportunity there. I didn't know what exactly it was going to ultimately look like, though.
So when you had your brick and mortar store and you're selling you're doing Facebook Lives. Is that when you started doing Facebook Lives, when you had the brick and mortar?
Yes.
And would you be selling items? Would you be saying, hey guys, I've got a sale on this cool rustic picture frame, like buy it now?
I did not do it that exact way. I would do shop tours every week where I walked around and showed them everything that was new. And that was just to come look at everything. And then on Saturday mornings, I would have actual live sales where I would hold up an item and give it a number. And then they would all comment. They would know how many I had. It was before there was a comment sold and all the other things that are handy to help with, but I did it the old-fashioned way, and it worked really, really well.
Did you have to contact everybody and get their credit card number and like make a sale? If somebody said, I want that.
I had to go back through the comments and I had to message each person.
Wow.
Yeah, they had the option to come in and pay or pay over the phone.
But were you getting, though, people from all over? Or was it predominantly local?
It was actually predominantly local.
That's so interesting.
The very interesting twist, Jillian, I have to say, is that about 65% of our traffic in the store was not local. But in the online space for the social media page, it was the complete opposite.
Interesting. Okay, so now your building is wrecked. You've moved home. You got a bunch of inventory and you've got a Facebook page. What did you do?
I just started going live.
How often?
I was going live, once or twice a week. I didn't, do that every single day. And I tried my hand at selling things from that space. But I think where a lot of people get hung up, and I fell into the trap as well, was shipping. And it wasn't just shipping, oh, I can't figure it out. Of course, I could figure it out. I sent things to people. The problem became a problem when it was things I was used to carrying in my storefront that were priceless, like antiques and one-of-a-kinds. You can't just replace that if it's lost in the mail or never gets to your recipient. So therefore, I quickly shut down the idea that I was going to ship things I was used to shipping from home. So I was faced with a decision. Do I want to continue the same path that I have with the storefront and just maybe go with things I can buy in bulk that aren't one of a kind, that aren't big, vintage picture frames that you can sell. And a lot of things were huge and you'd have to go freight. Or do I want to take a different path altogether and just not work in the physical realm? And that's what I decided on.
Okay, so let's talk through that. Which way did you go?
I went with the complete hands-free online space.
And what does that mean?
I started Actually, interestingly enough, I thought, well, if I'm not going to ship, then I'm going to do print on demand. And I went in and I added Oberlo and all of the things that you can add to a Shopify site, where it's basically you pick the items, people buy them from your site, and the place in another country sends it out to them.
So wait, what was the company?
It's Oberlo, Oberlo.
Oberlo. Okay. Is this one of those companies where, so you're just picking items and you're selling these items from this overseas vendor? So these aren't personalized.
Correct.
And how did that go?
I did not like it.
Okay.
Because there is a long gap in the amount of time that it takes for them to ship things to your customers. And I was used to getting things out the door in a couple of days, and this would be more like 4 weeks before they would receive it. And the quality was not there that I'm used to being able to promise. So it was not a good match for me. It only took me a few, probably weeks to figure out that wasn't going to work either.
Okay. So now what are you doing? So now you're like, okay, this isn't, I couldn't do this. I'm not psyched about this. What did you then come up with?
I decided to grow my Facebook page because
So wait, okay, at this point, how big is your Facebook page?
It's about 4,000
okay.
followers.
Okay.
Well,
it's not a group, it's a page.
It's a business page.
Okay. So now.
And I knew that there wasn't going to be any income immediately coming from it because I'm not selling a physical product, and I don't have the numbers. You have to have a certain amount of audience to sell to because it is a numbers game. And I knew I just needed to put my head down and grow my presence online. So with that being said, I decided to double down what was working for other people. And it looked as if what was working was going live and showing creativity, like DIY projects, things of that nature. And I wasn't used to doing that. I was used to doing more of the decorating end where I show you how to put everything together. But then I was like, but I can certainly do the DIY part. And therefore I pivoted my page to more of a watch me make something, you go make it, and let's put it in your home somewhere and make it look pretty.
Okay. And how often did you put yourself on a schedule?
I didn't put it on a technical schedule. So I just went ahead and made sure, though, that I was going live consistently, at least a couple times a week.
And you're doing projects each time?
I was doing projects each time, and I was posting consistently every single day, multiple times a day at that time. And there are, times of the day that are better depending on your audience, as well as there are a certain number of times you should post based on the size of your audience. And I kind of played with that till it worked best for me, using the analytics and the insights that Facebook gives you.
So were there rules of thumb that you were using, or was this really based on trial and error? Like, did you read on somebody who'd gone before you who said, post 4 times a day and these are the best times, and so you started there? Or were you just kind of figuring it out for yourself?
Probably for the first 8 months, I was just figuring it out for myself. And then I realized there were experts out there on some of these things. And so I immediately latched on. So Rachel Miller is one of my mentors, and she runs a business called Moolah, and she has an amazing set of steps that you can take to grow a page. And I implemented several of her ideas to my page, one of which was to make sure you knew who you were trying to attract. And some of that had happened organically already, but it definitely helped to have her techniques on board.
And by the way, I've interviewed Rachel for the podcast, so I will link to it in the show notes for people who want to go listen to her and get some of her tips. Okay. So she said, know who you're talking to.
Yes.
And who were you talking to?
Well, I probably wasn't even cognizant of who I exactly was supposed to be talking to. But I realized that it was important in order to grow quickly to actually drill down to a specific niche. And so I realized it kind of shifted for me somewhere in there. It went from just your person that wants to buy something to make their home look pretty to an actual crafter. So instead of DIY home decorating, which is the name of my page, it's actually more of a DIY crafter. And there's an entire niche out there that I learned of for that.
So your page is starting to grow and you're seeing it grow.
Yes. I leaned into the crafting, and I noticed the more I would lean into the crafting, the more that that would flourish for me. So I, kept leaning into the crafting. Okay. And I looked up and had plenty of people that wanted to be a part of it, a part of what it was that I was doing. And there were people that were reaching up and wanting to know how I was doing what I was doing. And so I branched off of there with a coaching group and also an event that I do quarterly now.
And I have to say this is so interesting, given that my podcast is the Blogger Genius podcast. You did not have a blog at this point.
I did not have a blog at this point. I didn't, honestly. I had a really good friend when I was starting this from home journey, way before any of the issues we have in the world right now. And she was saying, my sister is a blogger and you ought to consider blogging. And I was like, oh no, I don't really probably know what that is. And I just didn't know anything about it. And it sounded like it was just something you do as a hobby. It didn't really sound like anything businessy. And I didn't have a blog.
I love that. Again, this shows that you can build your business in a variety of ways. It's by doing exactly what you're talking about, Melanie, which is identifying what's working and leaning into it. And it's like, you've got this teeny little, like you've got some sparks and you're starting to feed the fire. And you're starting to add some more twigs and add stuff. And then all of a sudden you're watching this thing grow. And from that, then you can grow these other parts. I wanted to take a quick break to talk about the MiloTree app, the pop-up app that David, my husband and partner, and I built to help bloggers grow their social media followers and email lists. Now, the great thing about it is you can grow your Facebook followers with it. Melanie uses it on her blog, and she's got a huge Facebook page. So if that's what you're looking for, definitely use MiloTree. And it will also grow your followers on Instagram, Pinterest, and YouTube, plus your email list. If you have not tried it yet, please pause the episode, head to MiloTree.com, sign up, you get your first 30 days free. Then it's $9 a month after that. You can cancel at any time. There is no risk. So use MiloTree to grow your followers and subscribers, which will grow your business. And now back to the show. So let's talk about some of these other parts. So you've got coaching and then you've got something called craftathons. What's all that?
Well, I decided to try. I knew that I knew some basic business principles, which is 2 is better than 1. And so collaborating is key. And I knew that if I could get a group of people together that were doing a similar business, that we could grow it faster. And it happened. So I went ahead and put together a group of ladies for my very first event and called it the Southern Crush Craftathon. And it was a hit.
And explain what it is, because it's all online. And by the way, I just want to stop for 1 second. I say this all the time. The internet is a very big place. And I love that you had that peace of mind, the thought of abundance, which is I'm not competing with you, other crafter. If I work with you, we can put our audiences together, we can promote each other, and together we can be more than just 1+1 is 2. Maybe 1+1 is 3. And I love that idea of abundance.
Definitely. Definitely. I had to learn that back in real estate. There were a lot of companies out there. Everything was hush hush. You don't tell your secrets. Nobody needs to know how you made that sale. And then I went and worked with a company that was just the complete opposite. Everything was abundance. Sharing is caring. It was so much better. And so I think that really contributed to my success in that field. And I knew it would carry over to this field as well. And so we had the event. It started out as a 1-day, 36 crafters, 20 minutes each. They go live in my craftathon group and present a project for the public. And the public can view it for free. And it was a hit. It was a hit. And so I knew from there I wanted to do it again. And so I immediately started planning for the next event. And about 3 events in, we decided we were going to make it bigger and better because I was getting more and more interest from crafters who wanted to participate in it.
So wait, I love how you start with 36 crafters. You don't start with 6 crafters. You're swinging for the fences, but yet you didn't know at this point how you were going to monetize it, or you did?
Correct. I did not. It was all 100% free. I wanted to test the waters, see if this was a viable business concept, and go from there. And yes, I knew I wanted it to be okay. So let's just back up. The term craftathon. So I have that trademarked, and it came to me because I remember in high school, or maybe it was junior high, we used to do these things called the jump rope-a-thon. And it was this marathon of jumping rope. And what made it so special was of course, let's be honest, it was always your parents, your grandparents, and your neighbors who sponsored you and would pay like a penny to the American Heart Foundation or whatever for each minute you jumped or whatever. And so to me, it was a thon because it was going to be a marathon and it needed to be long. So I knew for 12 hours, how many crafters can I accommodate? How many crafters can I shove into that short amount of time and benefit their businesses and still make sense? And so 36 right out of the gate was just what worked.
That's amazing. And then you're there behind the scenes having to make sure that it's switching every 20 minutes, that everybody, and what is the value for somebody I'm a crafter and I come and I'm a participant in your craftathon. Why? What am I getting?
That is where everything is different. Everything is different from every other virtual event that I've seen online. You go live from your page, Jillian. I share your video to my group and to my private group, and the power of it being seen by every single other person's viewer. So all 36 people's pages are coming together, telling all their audiences to come view it in this one space.
Okay, wait, back up. All right, say that again. So I'm a crafter. And I have, let's say, 5,000 followers on my business page. You've got a bigger page at this point, right?
Yes.
So I'm going live in my house on my page. And
Yes.
then you are restreaming that? What are you doing?
I'm sharing it over into my group that I have created for the event.
So you can do that on Facebook. So if I'm live on my page, you can reshare my page into your page and on your business page, into your group, all this stuff.
Yes, but I only send it to one place because I don't want the people to be confused, the public. And so you are putting in your description that you are part of this event to see all of the rest of the projects, make sure that they're in that group.
So my crafting is showing up on your page, but is it showing up on the other people's pages, or you're the main focal point? So I'm going to go live on my page, but all my audience is going to see me, but I'm sending them to your page where they can then go see 35 other crafters.
Yes, but it's a group, not a page.
Okay, it's a group. Got it. Okay, so it's not your page. Sorry, it's your group. Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
I would never have other crafters go live on my page. There's multiple reasons for that, but it's a group.
It's a group. Okay. So when you started, how many people were in this group?
Oh my goodness. So when I had the first event, I had only like 1,000 people in this group. It wasn't very big.
But because all these 36 people are sending people to this group, all of a sudden this group is growing.
Correct.
Okay. Today, how many people are in this group?
There's about 17,000.
And what's the name of the group?
It's the Craftathon, Southern Crush Craftathon group.
Love it. Okay. So let's talk about this. Okay. So the value for me as a crafter is I'm going live on my page and it's going live in your group. And then people from my audience now are coming and watching these 35 other crafters, hopefully growing their pages as well.
And all of their followers are coming to see your video in my group. And anytime someone taps on the video and watches it, it's giving you the juice, your page, the juice. If they share it, they've just shared your page again. And the people who participate in my event grow their pages overnight by at least 500 followers. I don't really know anywhere else you can go live for 20 minutes and get 500 followers. And they get thousands and thousands and thousands of views to that video.
Wow. So talk about the juice on their page. That's amazing. So which will then hopefully kind of be like an umbrella and help give that page this push in Facebook's algorithm eyes.
Yes.
Okay, so you're doing this. So you've done now 3 of them. You're not monetizing it. You're doing it really to grow this page, I guess, to get your name out there. Why else are you doing this?
So it wasn't monetized the first event. It was monetized every event since then.
Okay.
And about the third event, I decided how many other people can I serve? How can I make this bigger and better? And we've added a second day. So now for 2 times, there is a second day to the event. It's a 2 full days of crafting, 54 crafters, 20 minutes each. And we have double the juice almost for everyone's business.
Okay. So how do you make money? How did you figure out how to monetize it?
So now each presenter pays a fee to participate. There's 3 levels. They can participate at a base level, a medium level, and the premier level. And we also have sponsors for the event. We've had sponsors since the second event, and those people get extra, their name is huge. They're on the back of the shirt that goes with the event. They get their advertisement in the group during the event. And so on and so forth.
Have you gone out to crafting brands, or are these predominantly crafters who are the sponsors?
Both. So I've had Deco Exchange, I've had Essential Stencil, I've had Totally Dazzled. We've had corporate sponsors for the event.
Wow. And how many times a year are you doing this?
This is 4 times a year now. So
is your life just like a total kind of crazy mess during these 2 days?
Yeah, the 2 days you can not, like, my husband brings me food. I don't leave the computer because I am constantly putting out fires and making sure things are going smoothly for everyone. I've had to I've been so blessed with this experience. I've only had to jump in 1 time ever for a crafter that just wasn't on the same page and didn't, present. So,
and are you dealing with all the tech behind the scenes?
Yes.
Like switching it up and making sure that, oh my gosh, for 12 hours a day.
Yes. Well, the first day now is 12 hours. The second day is 6 hours.
Wow. Okay. Oh my gosh. And so how many craftathons have you done?
Well, we are about to have our fifth one, and it is November 21st and 22nd.
All right. So where should people go to sign up for it?
It is christmascraftathon.com.
I love that. I love that. Okay. So from this now, you've been able to grow a coaching business of crafters who want to know, like, what is the goal? Why did this happen?
So it was organic. They want to know how to make money online. And so the way I know to teach them is how to grow your audience online. And so my coaching group is Six-Figure Following, how to grow your social media platforms to where you have an audience that knows, likes, and trusts you enough to buy from you. So that is what I teach.
And what do you sell other things besides the craftathon?
Yes.
Okay.
So I created, I knew I didn't want a subscription because, again, that would put me back into the mix of shipping a product. I knew I wanted a membership. I just didn't know exactly what that looked like because I knew I wasn't going to be able to commit to showing up like every week or whatever they would have expected from me in a membership. And so I decided to build a membership on the back end of the craftathon.
Ooh. So what does that mean?
That looks like basically the public can watch the craftathon for free for the first 24 hours of each day, or 48 hours, I'm sorry. And after 48 hours, the videos disappear and go into my VIP group. So they can join there, and that is monetized, and it is growing.
Nice. Okay, and how much is that a month?
It is now currently $17 a month.
So for $17 a month, I have access to all of the past ones or just the most recent craftathon?
All of them.
Wow. I was just reading an article that people who watch nature videos, for example, during this stressful time, it calms them down, like physiologically it's shown to. I feel like if you are a crafter and now you have access to all of these hours and hours of crafting videos, it could do wonders for your mental health.
Exactly. And it's all in one place. And it's in order.
Ooh.
And it's labeled.
Ooh.
They don't have to search the interwebs for all the things.
For all these crafting videos.
And maybe they, are addicted and love it and want to meet new presenters, and they're all there.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's a great idea. Again, a lot of times there are these symposiums or kind of events online, and it's that same thing where, let's say it's like a blogger event. There are all these different speakers and you have access to it in real time. But then if you want recordings, because it's a lot of content to consume, you pay for the kind of membership or the package. So people can subscribe monthly and then just have access, but they don't get new content until there's the next craftathon.
Yes, but currently, and until further notice, they have always gotten additionally one live crafting presentation a week.
Ooh.
So they're also getting fresh content every single week inside of the VIP group, as well as any discounts that I find online that I can offer to them in the crafting.
And are you doing that craft?
No.
Okay, who's doing that craft?
People from my business coaching group, people from past craftathons that have presented who see the value. So.
Wow. Now let's talk about other social networks that are important to your business. So Facebook by far, how many Facebook followers do you have currently?
I am sitting at just over 100,000.
How often are you going live on your page?
At least twice a week.
All right, and you're doing crafts both times?
No, I do crafts maybe once a week.
Okay, and the other time you're just like, hey, it's Melanie, guys, what's up?
Pretty much.
Okay. How long do you go live for when you go live?
I try never to go live less than 15 minutes, but my average project would be about 20 to 30 minutes.
And do you show up like people know, oh, it's Tuesday, Melanie's going live at 2 p.m. today, or is it still kind of more ad hoc?
It's pretty much just I wing it.
I personally like that because I go live in my Facebook group. I try to do it Mondays at 3 p.m. And sometimes it doesn't happen. And I love you who has this big page saying, you know what? I don't even have a schedule. I try to show up. It just takes a lot of pressure off because people will always say, no, stick to, and I agree. If people knew Jillian goes live 3 p.m. Central Time, MiloTree Mastermind group, you know what I mean? Then they would hopefully show up and know that. But I like that you're like, you know what, going live is better than not going live. So it doesn't mean like if you can't stick to a schedule, don't go live. Go live. Would you agree?
I agree 1,000%. And let me tell you why. Because when it comes to Facebook, 80% of your viewers and your views on that video will come after the fact. They will be replays. So whether you were live at a specific time or not, your audience may not already be there.
I like that.
They know that you're always at a certain time. There will be a certain amount of people who will love that and get, glom onto that. But there will be the other bulk of the people who were like, oh, well, I know she went live yesterday at 3. I'm going to go see that maybe tomorrow or the next day. So it really had no bearing on the time you were live.
I like that. And the other thing that I just recently read that I really try to take in for my own, for when I go live, is to have an idea of what I want to talk about. Because if nobody shows up, it feels like crickets and like nobody's going to stop. Let's say it shows up in their feed. And I'm just sitting there going, waiting for people. Hey guys, come, when's somebody going to join? Versus, okay, so what I do is I talk about my most recent podcast episode and what the biggest takeaways were for me. So at least I have some content. So whether people show, I love it when they do. But even if they don't, somebody who's viewing this later is not just getting me there kind of twiddling my thumbs, but is actually getting real content.
That is exactly right. In fact, I tell my coaching clients, don't ever let me catch you saying, I'm going to wait for some people to pop on, or because that is the rudest thing you can do online. It is rude to the one person who's sitting there, and it's rude to the 80% that are going to watch it tomorrow. It is not a good thing. And I know for a fact, multiple people who have told me that if that's the way a video starts, they just delete and they move on.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I just kind of jump in and I'm like, well, hopefully, in my head, knowing that I've got an agenda. So at least I'm not psyched out if I'm the only one talking at the beginning. That I know, okay, let's dig in, let's talk about this, So I try to create that level of community, even if I know it's going to be asynchronous. They're not going to be there with me. And right. And by the way, that is a muscle. So in the beginning, when you show up and nobody's there, it feels really weird and you feel very unloved. However, I love, that you're saying, no, it's as valuable because people will see it. So you have to assume that it's asynchronous love, that there is love there. It just might not be showing up when you're showing up.
Yes. And it's helpful to have like a little, maybe a short slogan or something that you say every single time. For you, I guess it's a recap, but for others, it might be like for mine, it's, my name and my brand. I'll say, hey there, it's Melanie Ferguson with Southern Crush at Home, where I hope to inspire you to create and decorate a home that you love. And I'll say it kind of slow. And then about that time, I'll see Facebook sending out the notifications because I put myself on a notification. So when I'm live, I can see the delay exactly. And then I'm like, okay, well, nobody even saw it up to this point yet. And then the people start piling in. And then I start greeting just 1 or 2 people, not 50, before I actually dig into my content. And I love that. I have to repeat myself, but that's just part of it.
And I, by the way, have started to do the same thing, which is I weirdly assumed people knew who I was and what I was about. And now, even though it seems weird to do for myself, I'll go, hey guys, it's Jillian Leslie, host, founder of Catch My Party, founder of MiloTree, and host of the Blogger Genius podcast. But then I give you what the benefit is, which is I say, I take complex business concepts, but things that are working today, and I break them down for you so that you can take them into your own business. And I only just recently started that. Melanie, where were you to tell me that I needed to be doing that? I would just kind of launch in and think, oh, people know me. It's like, why would they know me? Why would they know what value I could provide?
Well, that, and there is power in saying your name out loud. So people retain things based on seeing it in the written form, and the verbal form. And sometimes you have to hit them several times. But if you say your name here and there, it sticks with the people.
So in the midst of your live, you're repeating your name?
Sometimes I will say, oh my goodness. And I was, going out to grab this, object for our project. And I was like, Melanie, what are you thinking? You need 2 of those.
Ooh,
I will just drop it here and there because it sticks with them. And they're like, Melanie, okay, yeah.
That's so interesting. And I will say this today, I had this realization. I was looking through my email, and I will join people's email lists to see what they're up to. By the way, I highly recommend your email list. I said that to you before we pressed record. It's true. Get on Melanie's email list. But let's say I find somebody and she's an email marketer, right? And she's got all these tips for email. And then her emails drip to me and I see her name show up in my inbox. And especially, let's say that day or the day after, I remember who she is. However, 3 days later, an email shows up from this random person. I've completely forgotten her name, and she's talking to me as if I know who she is. And I'm like, who's this person? I don't even it's completely lost. Let's say she doesn't email me for a week. And so I realized that in my own emails, I need to remind people who I am and what I offer, because she's now thinking we're besties. And I have no idea who she is. Even if I just signed up for her email list 2 weeks ago, I've signed up for 20 people's email lists, to join their newsletters. Therefore, to assume that people know you, I think is a really big mistake.
Definitely. And you hit the nail on the head. The email is one of the best places because even if they push delete, they saw your name first. It's the same thing with Instagram stories and Facebook stories. You pretty much, the content is great if it's great, but at the least you want to shove something up in there because they'll see it as they're scrolling through the stories. So it's having relevance in your space, and the repetitiveness is something that they can't shed if you're everywhere.
I love that. Okay, tell me then, so Facebook is really important. What other platforms are really important to you, and how do you use them?
It depends on what your goal is, 100%. So like you were mentioning before, I didn't have a blog. And so as I started diving into the world of blogging and learning how definitely it's a business, I learned that certain things would work to promote it better than others. And definitely used my Facebook as a tool. And that's a whole nother story. But I learned how important Instagram was for a blog should you decide to delve into brands and
working with brands. Okay.
Correct.
Tell me why. What does that mean?
Because for some unknown reason, I don't really know the history there, but brands have decided that Instagram is really all that counts. And it's as if Facebook doesn't even exist. However, I beg to differ. If they only knew the power that they could have behind a Facebook presence as well.
I think brands are like lemmings. So if one brand decides that Instagram is where it's at, all brands believe that. I do think that Instagram is cool. Instagram is sexy. Instagram, it just is. And Facebook feels a little like fuddy-duddy-ish. So if you're like a 20-something-year-old brand marketer, you're kind of like, I want to be where the cool kids are. And I think there is a lot of that. And that's why Instagram, also you can reach out to brands, I think, more easily on Instagram because everybody's DMing. So, but I agree with you, which is, I don't think it's necessarily real. or like the right answer. I just think it's the answer right now because brands have deemed it to be the answer.
Correct. And I think that the way they're looking at it, and what they're not seeing is that, yes, Instagram is where all the pretty things go. Um, and there's a little bit of community. There is an entire world of community that they're missing out on Facebook. And it's sometimes an even tighter community.
I would agree. Not sexy though. Doesn't feel sexy. Okay, Absolutely. So Instagram, tell me then, how do you use Instagram for your blog?
Well, that's been a little more recent of a journey. I am desperately working towards getting that optimized over there, but definitely adding to the stories, adding everywhere that Instagram wants. IGTV videos, they now have the reels, and just being consistent over there, which again is a lot less pressure because it's only posting once every 3 days versus 3 times in one day, So it's a little different animal, and it has to be treated that way.
Okay, so how often then are you showing up on Instagram? Like go feed, stories, IGTV, reels. What is your strategy?
I post on Instagram once every 2 to 3 days.
On the feed?
On the feed.
Okay.
And then an IGTV truly just whenever I get around to it. But I don't just not post to IGTV. And then stories, I'm trying desperately to be consistent every day. Okay. At least five slides, stories, however you want to say it. And I start each story with either myself on a video talking or a photo of me with like something wording on it, so that there's that, because the first image that you put on your story is the one that sticks the whole 24 hours first up at the top. And so I don't want it to be some random image. It needs to be you. It's more personable, and they're like, oh yeah. And people are more likely to click on something that's somebody versus a product.
Yeah.
So I try to make sure that first slide or two are me either on video or a still picture. And then after that, I will promote whatever it is I'm promoting.
For brands.
If it's for a brand or for myself. If I have a printable I want you to get, or if I have an event that I want you to attend, whatever it is I'm promoting, I'll put after that.
And let's briefly talk about email, because I think you do a really good job at email. How do you think about it? And is that where most of your sales for the Craftathon come from?
Email is everything. And I hadn't gotten serious about email until about a couple years ago. And when the Craftathon was born and slowly started to see that was going to be a viable business, I decided to be very on purpose with collecting the emails. So I offer the public a way to register for prizes. And I give away prizes myself. And now more recently, the presenters are also putting in prizes. But they all go into one till. And I collect the registrations for that. So I've grown my list exponentially with each event. And so I am making sure that I communicate with that list. It used to be at least once a week, but now I have a framework set in place to communicate 3 times a week minimum, and more if I have something timely.
I love that. And I like that you are bold and you're going, oh no, my people want to hear from me. A lot of times people go, no, I don't want to be a bother. And everything that I experience and everything that I read is, no, email, do it. And if they don't like it, guess what? They unsubscribe and then you don't pay for them. So even though, again, it might hurt a little bit to go, oh, I got these, people who unsubscribed, it's okay because you're continually honing that audience of people who want to hear from Melanie or want to hear from Jillian, because hopefully we are providing value. So it's just, it's a mindset shift to say what I offer is valuable. Yay, somebody's on my list. I'm going to give them value.
I think that I am the oddity here. I look forward to the unsubscribes because I have a bulk number of people just sitting there. So every time I get the opportunity to clean my list, I do. And I feel like the ones that want to hear from me, that's who I want to target. And I know it's a numbers game. So I feel like the more laser focused that group of people is that's receiving my emails, the more sales I will have in the long run, because they are the tried and true know, like, and trust people that really want to hear from me. And their next natural instinct is, what can I buy from you?
Totally. Yes.
You give me so much. You
Yep.
go live every week and you show me stuff for free. I log in, I do this, I do that. I really want to support you. I don't have a fan group on Facebook. I don't have donations. I mean, this is how they support me, is going through my email, and if they see something that appeals to them, investing in it. So
there are these people. In fact, I was talking to David, my husband and partner, about this, which is there are those people who, we try to really offer high value things, courses, coaching groups, that kind of thing, and they will buy. When we come out with a new course, they're right there because they know that they're going to get value and they trust us to provide. And I said to David, we just did a WordPress workshop and I went through the list and I'm like, I know these people. I know them because we either set up their blog or they were in our coaching group, or there are a variety of ways that they subscribe to MiloTree. The people who buy from us are people who've bought from us in the past. And I think that that's a testament to, we're providing value, but it's also to relationship building and to leading into those people who are your fans.
Definitely. And another way I've been growing my email list, Jillian, has been free groups on Facebook.
So first of all, wait, how often do you call your list?
Every 90 days.
Ooh, okay.
For the inactives.
Now, and go ahead.
Other than that, it's every day. If somebody bounced or somebody, didn't like the email, I will delete them from the list.
Okay. Good for you. And how many people can I ask you how many people on your list?
I am just sitting at 16,000.
That's amazing.
Really clean list.
Exactly. High quality list. Like a 16,000 high quality list is equal to 100,000 of people who are just hanging out on your list that you're paying for.
Correct.
Okay. So tell me though what you were saying about groups.
So for Facebook groups, I know that there's that little trigger where you can ask people questions before they join. And I don't require them to provide their email address, but I do ask them, is there an interest there for them to keep in touch? And I can share with them XYZ depending on the group. And I will tell you, probably 90% of the people give their email address. Now, whether it's a good one or not, but they give the email address. And when I get them into my list based on the group they entered from, they get a specific welcome series. And from there, I'll immediately know, obviously, if it was a good email address, and we move on from there. And so far, the net gain of subscribers has been well worth it.
That's terrific. How many groups do you have and do you manage?
I believe I have 5 right now.
Wow. And they're all different?
They're different. But one, of course, is my VIP group for the Craftathon, and one is the Craftathon group. So the others are specific to my niche.
And how do you break them out? What are those 3? Like how do you differentiate them?
Well, it's really clear. So I have a Christmas group, and I have a Buffalo Check group, and I have a new group. It's a cricket group.
Oh, wow. Well, what is Buffalo Check?
Buffalo Check is like buffalo plaid.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Those are very specific niches. Okay. And are you how are you getting people to join these groups?
I haven't done anything. It's just the power of Facebook.
Wow. So you just put these groups up and people are joining. And are you jumping into all of these groups often?
I have not been. I've So I'll post once a day in each group just to keep interaction. And those are highly engaged posts, highly engaging posts. And I will do a welcome email a welcome post every week on Wednesdays that just welcomes all the new people. And I get lots of interaction on those. And then I post once a week a blog post that is relevant to that specific group's niche.
Oh my God, you are the hardest working person in online business.
Oh my goodness, no.
Oh, Melanie. Okay. So you are like we're going to have to do a part 2 because this is just so good. Melanie, if people want to reach out to you, learn more, have questions, or want to know your Facebook strategy of how you did this, what's the best way?
I guess they can either message me on Facebook because I'm there all the time, or they could go to my blog and go to southerncrushathome.com/6figure following.
And what will they get at 6-Figure Following?
They will get a menu of choices. They can find my Facebook Famous Formula, which is a little mini course on how to capitalize when you go live on Facebook and make the most of it. And then they will have the opportunity to learn more about my coaching that I offer on growing your audiences across the social media platforms.
Oh, Melanie. Well, this has been such a pleasure. I'm so glad we're friends. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Jillian. You are always such a joy to speak with. And I love, love, love. We didn't get to go into it, but I love all of the services you offer. And MiloTree has been a huge player in the growth of my online platforms.
Oh, I love that. And we will do a part 2.
All right.
I hope you guys got a lot out of my interview with Melanie. I think this is a perfect example of something I teach, which is called emergent business building. You start somewhere, and as that starts growing, you start to see opportunities around you and build that way. It's really a bottom-up strategy, not a top-down strategy. And for online business, I don't think there's any other way to grow a successful business. So think about that in your own business. What's working? What can you lean into? And are there opportunities you can see around that? And remember, if you need blog tech help, we are here. Reach out to me at jillian@milotree.com. And if you are ready to start your blog, I can't think of a better time than right now. We would love to set it up for you and optimize it. We are here for you. We're here for questions, anything. So that you can learn about at MiloTree/blog start. And I will see you here again next week.